Thank you all for joining us. It looks like there's over 200 people on this. This is our first test actually of our Zoom web room like this. We've been using Zoom as a work tool. This is how we keep together as our virtual organization of eXtension, but this is our first time we're actually using it in broadcast mode. But I know many of you in Extension are using this as part of how you have your meetings, but we really like it. So on the eXtension team joining me today are Mark Locklear. You guys can just wave. Ashley Griffin, Jerry Thomas, and Terry Meisenbach, and then of course Beth Rainey. And I'm going to share my screen to show you some slides. Thanks for joining us for no more than half an hour, and this is really a timely, very quick look at what we're doing now and where we're heading, but mostly it's about how you can engage in 6 different ways right now. Some of it you're familiar with, and some of it might be brand new to you, but this is to summarize how you can really maximize your membership right now, and then what are some of the things you can expect going forward. So let me share my screen here, and I'm going to ask my fellow people on my fellow panelists to help me keep track of the chat and the things in the Q&A so we can make sure we answer people's questions. And here are my slides. There you go. All right, so that's us. That's our logo, which you're familiar with. We're just to reinforce that we're eXtension. We're part of the cooperative extension system. And our new strategy, approved at the NEDA meeting by ECOP in October of 2015, focuses on 3 I's: issues, innovation, and impact. And although we are still a learning network, the logo used to say America's research-based learning network, we still have all of our communities and all of those good publishing tools. Our new strategy really focuses on one thing, and this is the bottom line: making a more visible and measurable local impact with you. So our focus now is really serving the professionals across the whole cooperative extension system and really helping you make a more measurable and visible local impact. And if there are side benefits for the system as well, all the more, all the better. But our first priority is your local impact. And this is my drawing. This is you. This is our picture that we use as a metaphor to describe what we're doing. That's the crown of impact. The red cape as a superhero is your connection to peers and experts across the system. That little tablet or iPad or device in the right hand there is our tool set. You know, things you're familiar with, like ask an expert and learn, for example, but it's also new things that I'll be talking about. And you're standing on what we're calling our professional performance hub, which is access to professional development resources that'll be growing over time in these next few months that we hope we'll be collaborating to create them with you, but also accelerate their use across the system. And it all rests on a base of evidence, research-based practice, research-based information. That's our focus, that's our metaphor. You know, excuse the cartoon, I didn't give Ben a chance to turn it into a nice illustration yet. And here's how we're getting this started. We successfully recruited and have launched 126 people across the system in about 30 states and 33 institutions that are working on 72 projects. The majority of those are food system projects. We focused on 2 issues to begin this with. So the most of them are food systems, and I think we've got about 10 or so that are climate related. And if you go to the link that's on top of this slide here, you'll see a gallery that links to the profile, the people profile of all the people. And if they have Facebook or Twitter, you can also link and get to know more about them. So there'll be more information as time goes on. We're still interviewing all these groups. I think we'll be finished with the last interview tomorrow. And each team or individual, each project's getting some special support, and we're designing the experience and the support that we provide people through access to key informants, consulting style support for things like evaluation and assessment. And what we're really doing is, through our experience with these 126 people and their 72 projects, this is what we're building. This is the professional performance hub. And what are the kinds of things we're realizing in talking to core members is that they're interested in new ways to go about making their impact. They need a variety of different sorts of help, from design thinking to help with assessment and evaluation, to maybe rethinking or experimenting with a piece of what they're doing to see if they can get an even better and stronger evidence-based impact. But the 4 quadrants of our Professional Performance Hub are helping people with how they work, how they engage with their public, how they actually solve issues, and in traditional language that would be how to design and deliver programs, and how they measure their impact. And all that rests on a base of evidence-informed practice. And we think there's lots of, by talking with the core, realizing there are many, many opportunities for accelerating and strengthening and making more connections across the system, and providing more focused support and expertise to really help people make the impact locally that they're shooting for. So that's where we're heading with the core. And by August, you'll start to see the results, and you'll start to see new services rolling out that we can then scale up to the next 1,000 people, which is our next goal for the core. It's through working with individuals in the core that we discover what's the most useful way to take the resources we already have in eXtension and add things new to them from across the cooperative extension system, all focused on helping individuals make a stronger, measurable local impact. But what can you do right now, right? In 2016, the membership year just got started in January. Here are 6 ways that we can help you now. Number 1, come and join us at our conference in March in San Antonio. We have about 46 presentations in the professional development track. They're not really presentations, they're workshops. So most of them are at least an hour, so that it's really skill building. So this is professional development. And then there are a variety of different sorts of format experiences where you can get to meet the core members and hear about what they're doing, learn from our innovation fellows and our innovation projects. If your institution is a basic member, each person that attends gets to save $50, which means your registration, if you register before March 11th, is $450. If you're a premium institution, you get a $100 discount per head, which makes it $400. Non-members, it's $500. So I hope you join us here. There's 2 tracks, professional development, and you can register for the sessions that you'd like on our website at conference.extension.org. And then there's a separate track for the core members, as we really have more of a boot camp style, where they'll be really putting the final touches on their projects and really launch them, if they haven't already, by the time of the March conference. So we hope you'll join us. So that's a different kind of format, and it's going to be a lot of things covered with our 3 I's: innovation, impact, and issues. Sessions ranging from tips for engaging your public in new ways, for example, using social media as the medium, not just promoting programs, talking about different forms of assessment, talking about ways to design programs and deliver programs that are more personalized, for example. So a number of different sessions, and the whole schedule's on our website. So that's the first way, is come to the conference. It's going to be a good professional development. The second way is start to use the very beginning of our Professional Performance Hub by using the first online course that's available in impact statement writing. This is free for members, whether you're basic or premium. It's free for each person at your institution. You can make this available to others, like your colleagues at the experiment station, for example. And if you're not a member, you can have access to this course for $80. It's online, it's self-paced, it's about 80 or 90 minutes to complete. It was produced at Oregon State University, but it's the subject matter experts, about 6 or 7 of them, are from all over the country. And then keep an eye out, number 3, you can engage with us by applying to be in our innovation lab. And these are innovation fellows and our innovation projects. Now I'm going to change my screen here so I can show you, if you haven't been to our new website, where you can find this information. So first, on our website under innovation, you will see, to give you an idea of what we're doing, if you're a premium member, you can apply to be part of the lab and work with us as an innovation fellow or an innovation project. And you'll see under this heading of I3 initiatives, you can get an
Chris,
idea of
we're,
9
we're,
so
we're
far.
not seeing your web browser.
Oh, you're not seeing my web browser. Thank you for letting me know that.
Sure.
So just the slides work?
Yeah, we're just seeing the PowerPoint still.
Oh, that's good to know. All right, I won't try to show it to you then. Let's go back here. Anyway, we have 9 innovation projects and 3 fellows. They are working on things like how citizen science can be used across cooperative extension, how the Internet of Things is going to be impacting cooperative extension. We have several that are related to program design and delivery, like personalized learning, virtual reality, different applications of technology. In the coming year, we haven't set the date yet, looking at maybe March or April, when the next call will be. I hope we have more proposals that are business model innovations, marketing innovations, assessment innovations, and because there's 10 types of innovation, only 1 is technology. The other 9 have to do with process improvement. So I think we'll look forward to more applications with a broader range in the coming year. Hey, let me pause here for a minute. And since we're talking about impact statement writing, I was wondering, Larry, if you can unmute yourself and just say a couple words about that, how many people have used it so far, and how people get access.
Good afternoon. Yes, the impact statement reporting course is on campus.extension.org. We have a link to it. If you go to extension.org, you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen a link that'll take you to a page describing it with a link that'll take you into the course itself. We've had some 75 or so, 75 to 80 people that have taken the course thus far, and those come from some 30 or 40 different institutions that are engaging with it at this point. So it's a course that takes about 90 minutes or so to go through. There's a number of videos, some little practice tests, just learning reinforcement exercises that you can go through, and then eventually, if you would like to have a certificate of completion, you can obtain one of those there as well that says that you've fully participated in that course.
Thanks, Larry. A really good way to use this course, if you're thinking about it, is tying it to an initiative where your whole team that's writing impact statements with the person who's your official liaison for the land grants impact database can actually plan a professional development program internally for your team. Pick a month or a week or something and have a start and end date where you started at a staff meeting. People go off on their own using the course to build up their skills, and then come back together and really practice it in your context. So that's an example of one way that you could really use this for greater impact. All right, and Terry, since you're on, do you want to add anything? I think Jerry's on too. Jerry, do you want to share anything about your plans for the lab going forward?
I think you covered it pretty well. We're really interested in very applicable applied projects as we move ahead for the lab, things that we can implement fairly soon, but it gives you an area to test these. There are funded projects. There's also opportunities to work with our lab on unfunded projects. And the lab is completely virtual, is not a physical space to work at, but we have a number of connections, and a number of communities are bunched together under the lab to offer support and help you find solutions. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. I'd also like to mention at the conference on the last day, ECOP will be launching the Innovation Task Force. And in fact, the task force's first meeting will be Friday afternoon. And Michelle Rogers, the head of ECOP this year, and Keith Smith, who's leading the task force, will be talking about this national initiative led by ECOP. And we're really proud that they're going to be launching that at our event in March. All right, let's go to the number 4 way. And this is, of the 6 ways you can engage, we're now on number 4. We're finding that for the institutions that have I-teams, which, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, there's about 12, I think, with active innovation teams. This is really helpful in adopting innovation. So as we learn about social media and what works in the system, a great way to get this infiltrated into your whole team across your whole cooperative extension unit in your state, in your institution, is with an I-team. So this could be, if you don't already have one, we'd be happy to consult with you on getting one set up. It could be 2, 3, 4, 6 people, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And we can provide different kinds of support for you. So for example, 4 of the extension staff have been trained up in a new system. It's not that new. It's kind of like the Myers-Briggs for innovations, called ISPI, the Innovation Strengths Indicator. And one thing we could do for you is help you understand how your staff, or at least your I-team, where they stand on that innovation builder to pioneer spectrum. And just to give you a link, this is one of the things that it ends up looking like. But 4 folks here are trained up, and that's a program that we could offer your I-team to get started. Terry, do you want to add some more about I-teams?
Sure. We have found that the innovation teams, or I-teams, in place at institutions has really helped keep the institution aware of what eXtension is doing, and keep eXtension aware of what the institution is doing. And it really does help build a relationship that is very unique. We really value the contribution of the innovation teams. They have brought a great richness to eXtension's work. We learn a lot about what's happening on the local level, and if we're trying to help make a local impact, it's very important for us to be connected like that. And we really enjoy building these teams and working with them. You've got one on the screen from it looks like Oregon State.
Yeah.
And they just reinvigorated their team, and Jerry and I typically are the ones working with the innovation teams, and we really, I know, enjoy making those connections.
Yeah, I was at Oregon State, and it was the I-team has really taken on trying to get Twitter adopted by more educators and agents, and they're working with the EdTech Learning Network, which is also part of eXtension, to get people trained up and practicing and really helping them adopt that practice. So I thought that was a good example. All right, thanks, Terry. All right, number 5, use us in your next grant. You might be familiar that AFRI grants, for example, in the call for proposals, mention us as an option to use, and they like that option, but it's not required, of course. But these are the different ways that we can help you in a grant. With a new capacity, which I'm going to share next, we can really be your partner if you're developing train-the-trainer programs like master programs or teacher training. Our new competency-based system that we'll be rolling out in the next couple months can really be a solution there. Also, Learn, which you used if you registered here, has some additional features that were added in the last year or so. Reminders and follow-ups. You can use that in a lot of different ways. Ask an expert, of course, creating a content community of interest, a learning network, or community practice. Those are still options. And also, we're expanding our collaborative tool set. So your grant team, for example, or the extended community that you're serving, we can make some of these tools available. Google Apps, for example, is a good place to start. Zoom, which we're using today. We use Slack, and we're making that available to core members as an experiment. That's internal messaging. It's kind of like it's like Twitter, but there's no character limit. You can have attachments and you can have channels, but it's not open to the public. It's behind the scenes. It's an enterprise messaging. And then Basecamp for projects. All of our core members, for example, are using Basecamp for their projects. So use us in your next grant. We're not just doing letters of support anymore. We'll actually have a conversation with you about what your needs are and give you a custom package that you can submit with your grant. And Adrian is the contact for that, or you can also reach out to me. All right, and number 6, use our competency-based capacity and our new marketplace. These are 3 conversations that we currently have going on right now where we could support pesticide safety education programs with a national landing page. Is basically a marketplace for their training programs in their state. We are in conversation with 4-H Common Measures to do the training for the folks that will be using that lead those 4-H programs. And the University of Tennessee received funding from USDA to enhance their SNAP-Ed and FNEP training, and we're working with them to develop competency-based frameworks. And let me go to the next slide. What am I talking about here? There'll be more about this in the future, but this is just to plant a seed. We can help you develop those frameworks, develop the assessments for them, deliver your programming in a competency-based approach online. And the benefits that you get are saving people time and being able to track down to the competency statement, which is an accessible statement of a skill or knowledge or ability. Really help you track that. So you're not just saying X number of people finish my program and pass the quiz, but you can actually say, these people mastered these exact, skills, or they're proficient in these 6 knowledge areas. So it just gives you a finer grained way to tell your impact story, but also saves time because people don't have to experience the whole thing. They can just find resources in different formats that meet the gaps that they have in their competencies and that they could self-assess. So this is the framework. The marketplace availability is coming the first week in February, and this we will be rolling out on the next 3 or 4 months. So we'll stay tuned for more news on that. But this is to focus. This is a reminder that this is what we're focused on, helping individuals in cooperative extension make a more visible and measurable impact locally. And this is your board. So you each have a representative on our board of directors. So your contacts, besides us, are the people that represent your region. And this is us, and extension.org has all the information. I'm sorry my browser didn't work sharing it with you. I'll have to work on that. And we have about 5 minutes left, and I'd just like to see if we can answer some questions that maybe are in the chat or in the Q&A. Do we have any, Beth?
We do. There's one that may go to Terry or Jerry about asking about being a part of the I-team.
Oh, sure. I'll be glad to respond. The innovation teams are set up by each institution. It typically works well when the director helps to form that team, because it becomes an assignment that the director supports. And so if that's something that can be done, we'll be glad to talk to the director. We do have some guidelines for who should be on the team, what kind of qualities and expertise is good to have. And so that's something that we'd be glad to work with someone on. But really, anybody can be on the team, but we really value the director and the administrative team helping to make those decisions about who should be involved.
So it's great. We also have a question from Joe Brumley about who can participate in Slack and Basecamp. So Joel Brumley, send me an email and tell me who you're interested in working with, and we'll figure out a way to get you started. We haven't rolled out all these tools as platforms for every member, but we're in the process of figuring that out. Mark Locklear's on the support team, who's busy writing instructions. And Mark, I know you've been working on Zoom. Do you want to share anything that you're working on in terms of support?
Sure. I think you covered most of the tools that we're using. I think it's good to bring up to folks that not only are the core is not the first folks that are actually using these tools. Most of these tools, in fact, all of these tools, we use internally first. The phrase we like to use is we're going to eat our own dog food first. So we normally try these tools internally, and if they work well, then sort of the next step is to roll them out to a limited number of folks within the core, and then based on feedback there, we'll sort of roll them out to a larger group. So of course we're using Zoom now. You mentioned Slack. Slack is an internal messaging tool that we use. I sort of like to describe it as chat on steroids, because if you've used Google or Gmail chat, similar to that, but much more robust. We also use Basecamp, and then you mentioned Google Apps too, which of course includes Docs and Sheets and all of those tools. So yeah, I think as Chris mentioned, contact her, and we'd love to hear more about what tools you're interested in and how we can help you in using those tools.
Yeah, so let's see. This is great. I think it looks like there are several different people with ideas of how they'd like to try these tools in their context. Like the person who, I just lost it in my scroll here, wants to try it out maybe for 4-H. There's also a master gardener that's interested in trying these tools. So I think the best thing to do right now is somebody please put my email address in the chat window, and please inundate me with email. Tell me what you're trying to do and who you're trying to do it with, and let's see how we can get you started. I'm somehow in a Mark Locklear chat. Okay, there we go, everyone. Here, send me Christine Geith at extension.org. You can also put something in the follow-up on Learn where you registered, as Beth mentioned.
There's a few more questions in the Q&A pod there, Chris.
Oh, okay. Jane Schuhart, hello, glad you joined us. I wish to indicate how eXtension is connected to ECOP and as a function of the cooperative extension system. Yes, thank you, Jane. So eXtension operates now as an independent foundation. However, it's founded with its purpose coming out of the 10 years of eXtension as an initiative at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We are part of the governance structure of ECOP. Dennis Calvin, our chair, serves on ECOP. I'm his backup person. So we are directly connected, and we're supporting ECOP initiatives like the Innovation Task Force, for example. So we're an integral part of the cooperative extension system. Half our money comes from your memberships of the extension directors and administrators. The other half of our money approximately comes from a collaborative agreement that's competitive out of USDA. It's the NIFL line for extension technology. So that's our purpose, and we're in the process, since I became CEO in July, of reinventing how we deliver our purpose in the system, and that's why we had this webinar today. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to more of these as we roll out more options and tools, and we learn from your colleagues that are in the new i3 core. So Jane, thank you for bringing that up. Can these tools be used for both extension staff and participants? Some of them absolutely can. So again, send me an email, tell me what you have in mind, and we'll get you started. Child development, parent, you know what? Right now we don't have like tools aimed at child development or 4-H in particular, but the Professional Performance Hub is aimed to do just that, so that you can find things just in your topic area to support yourself, your team members, and your public, you know, your constituents. So that'll be coming. All right, and Eric, a national program leader at NIFA. If and how can I participate in all these new approaches, training teams? Oh, we'd love to get you involved. Eric, send me an email, christinegeith@extension.org, and like I said, we'll get you started. This is great. We still have COPs and learning networks and communities of interest. Ashley's our leader on that. And if we weren't 1 minute over, I'd let Ashley tell you about some of her initiatives, but I guess we'll have to do another Zoom webinar, Ashley, so you can share all the things we're doing there too. All right, keep your questions coming in the, when we close this off, you can do them in Learn, right, Beth?
Right, that would be great. If you go to learn.extension.org, you'll find this webinar that we're participating in. You can sign in with your eXtension account, and there's a place to add comments to the page that's about this particular webinar, and we'll get back to you there.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Again, I invite you to inundate me with email, please. I would love to get 226 emails. So Christine Geith at extension.org, or you can just go to extension.org and you can find me there. Thank you very much. We're signing off for now. Thank you everybody on eXtension team for joining today.